Hey, how's it going, everybody? So in this video I want to talk about some of the symptoms I've experienced having low T, and hopefully this will help some people identify their problems. And part of the reason I want to make this video is because what I noticed is like I kind of just, well, when you have a certain lifestyle, you tend to like personalize things, if that's the right word. There's definitely a word that I'm trying to think of, where it's like you have these symptoms and you begin to believe that like that's just you because it's been happening for so long. So for me, I want to talk about these symptoms, and yeah, because I took my first testosterone shot like 2 hours ago, and I feel like a lot more motivated, and I just feel pretty good. So I just want to talk about some stuff. So the first thing we'll talk about is little or no sex drive. So I don't want to talk too much about this, but basically there are a few key points I want to talk about. First of all, some of my friends, or even like my older brother, I talked to them about like sex, and you know, as a man, you don't really want to talk about these things, especially if you view yourself a certain way. It's kind of hard to come to terms with the fact that like, man, maybe I do have low T, but this is something I've kind of come to realize. But the original topic was I talked to my brother and my friends, and basically they'll tell me. So like, for example, like my brother, he's like, yeah, if I'm with a new girl that I find attractive, it's like I might have sex with her 5 times in a night. I just laughed. I thought he was joking. I didn't even know. I thought that people were joking when they said things like that, because for me, if I don't find a girl exceptionally attractive, I'm lucky to get like 1 round in a day. I wouldn't say I'm lucky. I'd say that's like typical, but certainly not. 2 is certainly not standard. 3 has never happened, and yeah, obviously 4 or 5 is just, it seems ludicrous to me. So on top of that, I could go 1 to 2 weeks maybe without even like wanting to masturbate. That is, again, just something that I thought was just like unique to me or whatever. I was like, oh, I guess I just don't really care that much or whatever. But as I've talked to other people and I've like started dating more girls, I've been like, they always like expect more. And you know, you date like, I don't know, like I'm 27, so it's like if I've had like 5 girlfriends or something, it's like you just explain to all of them that you have like lower libido and they kind of get used to it. But it's like, as I've dated more girls, I'm like, okay, this is definitely not normal. Like all these girls always expect like more from me, and it's like, it's just not happening. So that's been my experience with like low sex drive. And another thing too is just like I don't know, I know people do this on Tinder, like they'll just like match with people and never like meet up with them, but I don't know. I feel like I have had exceptionally low interest in actually pursuing women. Like girls will like want to hook up or whatever, and I'm just like, nah, I'm chill with like cuddling, and pretty much never have the actual desire to have sex. So that's kind of what I've experienced. So I'll move on to number 2. Depressed mood. So these are actually going to be all pretty related, as you can tell, but I'll see if I can distinguish them. So depressed mood. I'm just going to attribute that. I'm just going to like say the symptom that people talk about is like feelings of hopelessness. By no means is my life like failed in any way. I don't have a great job, but I've got a job that pays all my bills. I've got a supporting father. I've got a supporting family in general. I don't have any serious physical problems, and yet sometimes I just, maybe for days at a time, maybe even an entire week, I might feel like everything's completely effed. And even if my life is effed, you shouldn't necessarily feel that way because you can change things. But I'm always like, I always struggle with like free will problems and like, which I don't know, maybe we don't have free will, but you can certainly feel like you have free will. And I never do. Not never, but rarely. And it seems like maybe like 50% of the time, maybe for 50% of my days are like spent like that. And I just kind of like power through things. I'm like, well, I still have to work and I still have to get things done. So I do it. But I feel like really like lost and hopeless a lot of times. But now that I'm like on TRT, even though it's only been like 2 hours, I feel like I have like more clarity and just don't feel as hopeless. So now we'll talk about lack of motivation. I guess I don't have to show you guys that, but whatever. Lack of motivation. So that ties into the one after that. I mean, like I said, they're all tied in together, but lack of motivation is like, I reshot this video, so I can't remember if I talked about it in this shoot, but you know, sometimes I just wake up and I'm just like, I know I need to do things to better my future. Like I'm trying to become like a good internet marketer, and despite knowing that, and despite knowing that there's opportunities, like I'm in Seattle and there's like plenty of opportunities here for like good jobs, man, I'll just like lay in bed and just like want to watch like video game stuff, and I don't even want to play the video games. Sometimes I do play video games and I'm just like, I just get tired and I just like eat food and want to sleep. And yeah, just generally a lack of motivation to do things. But I guess I'll just touch on that more as I talk about the next point, which is small tasks equals lots of convincing. So it takes a lot of like mental gymnastics for me to get myself to do stuff, which I've developed good habits to make myself just like, for the most part, I just like do things, like something occurs to me and I just do it. And that's been a good habit to develop, but again, I feel as though this testosterone has already kicked in a bit since the 2 hours that I took it, and I've already accomplished like a fair amount of like small things in my apartment that I've been wanting to do for a while, so could be placebo, as I mentioned in my other video. I don't think it is though, because it's like I just kind of have the energy and the will to just like move forward and like do things, whereas earlier it's always just so mentally exhausting, and like I have to like make all of these reasons in my head until I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. But I feel a lot more enthusiastic right now. So the last one I'll talk about is can't recover from workouts. So let's see, I don't think it's worth like showing my workout regimen. Like you can check it out if you want. I was trying to do a 6-day split with like low to medium volume, but so the weird thing is that like I've actually seen some decent muscle gains, but like this is what happened. So basically I've seen some good muscle gains and I can put on muscle, but I kind of attribute that to the fact that I've put on muscle before. I was like 20 pounds heavier at one point, so it's probably not too difficult for my body to remember how to put on muscle. I think that's how it works. But I'm just trying to think like what kind of splits I did in the past, but I could probably do a 3-day split and recover if I eat well, but basically I did this split for like 1 week and I just feel sore and tired, not motivated to work out again, and I just have a really hard time recovering, which isn't something I thought about until recently, but yeah, I've had a really hard time recovering from workouts, and I never feel motivated to work out. I always have to, again, small tasks equals lots of convincing. I know people go, like, they struggle with motivation to go to the gym, so it's like, I don't want to pretend like I'm the only one that has that, but it would be pretty rare that I'm like, man, I can't wait to work out. It's always just like, all right, I guess I need to work out, and when I'm into it, like you might kind of get into a flow state and things are cool, but overall, I do not recover well, it seems, or I haven't been. So it's only been a few hours since I've actually increased my testosterone levels, so hasn't even fully kicked in yet, and we'll see how things go. But despite how things, well, I guess you do need a reference point to compare. So what I imagine is that like all these symptoms will continue to decrease in like intensity or whatever until I just feel like good. So I guess I'll just cut off there, and I'll check in. Probably, I'll probably check in. I don't really like care much about this. This is just like documenting stuff, but I will check in, like I said. And the last thing I'll say is, if you experience these things, especially if you're young like me and you just don't ever want to have sex, just get your test levels checked. You know, you can just go to your doctor, or you can order online. There's all sorts of ways you can do it. No, I don't, maybe you can't. No, you probably can order online, but you'd have to do it yourself. But as long as you're like in a first world country, I'm sure there's like plenty of places to get your blood checked. So I recommend doing that, and I'm gonna cut it off there. So thanks for watching.